legislative business remains stalled in both the houses as the deadlock continues over the opposition's demand for an immediate debate on the special intensive revision of electoral rolls in Bihar, which has triggered massive protests. But currently, amid the ongoing logjam in Parliament, Prime Minister Modi is expected to address the BJP-led NDA parliamentary party meeting that is currently underway, visuals of which are playing out on your screens at the moment. This is a get-together of the alliance's MPs that is being held after a considerable gap and the first during the current session of Parliament. I'll tell you why this NDA meeting also holds significance. As filing of nomination papers for the election to the Vice President of India's post begins from the 7th of August, this meeting is taking place. The BJP-led bloc will have to announce its candidate, whose election to the post will be a certainty due to the alliance's majority in the Electoral College by the 21st of August, which is the last date of nomination filing, and the Monsoon Session of Parliament. For further clarity on this first NDA meeting post Operation Sindoor, let's go across to my colleague Vasudha Venugopal, who's been tracking all that's happening on our screens and behind the scenes. Vasudha, take us through the buzz inside. Are MPs seeing this as a routine situation and expecting a routine address or something more politically loaded?
A symbolically and politically very important meeting because this is the first meeting of NDA MPs after Operation Sindoor. This is also the first such meeting in this session of the Parliament, which is the Monsoon Session of the Parliament. Now, this comes after we had a 3-day-long session, a debate on Operation Sindoor, in which all political parties participated. There were no walkouts and there were no disruptions. But there have been 3 weeks of disruptions when it comes to legislative agenda of the Parliament. There's been a logjam, there's been a complete deadlock when it comes to the opposition and the ruling party, with the opposition demanding a discussion on the special intensive revision of electoral rolls going on in Bihar. Also, the Prime Minister speaking to all his MPs, the NDA MPs, not just the BJP MPs, is specifically important at a time like this because Donald Trump, the US President, has also been attacking India, has also been threatening to impose more tariffs on India, apart from the 25% and the additional penalty that he has already announced. So clearly, this is a time that the ruling party also wants to project a lot of confidence, not just of the BJP MPs, but also of the NDA MPs. It wants to send out a message to the country and to the opposition that Operation Sindoor is the new normal, it's going to stay, and it is a big achievement, accomplishment, not just for the armed forces, but for the country, and it has changed the way country looks at its own national security. And this is also one way that the Prime Minister wants to sort of showcase his commitments to national security at a time when the opposition is asking him several questions.
Right. As you mentioned, Vasudha, this is the first NDA meeting in weeks. But what actually explains this long gap, especially during such a charged monsoon session?
Well, NDA MP's meeting is basically a symbolic gesture. There is a lot of symbolic value that's attached to it because remember that this is an NDA government with 240 MPs and also the additional MPs coming from TDP and the JDU. This is also important because the government wants to showcase its relationship with its allies, and the fact that the NDA is very powerful. It still has substantial numbers, which is why it doesn't even have to worry about the new vice president who's going to be elected on the 9th of September. Also, the fact that it has been winning elections in states, subsequently after the Lok Sabha elections of 2024. So multiple messaging in there. But the most important message is that this is the first meeting of the Prime Minister with NDA MPs after Operation Sindoor, which is why it's going to be felicitated. And whatever he tells the NDA MPs, remember, he's been talking about the importance of ground feedback. He's been talking about improving the quality of life. He's been asking his MPs to go on ground, spend nights and days with people of the country, understand the sentiment of the poor. So clearly, Parmeshwar, this is the 11th year of the government. So this is also, the government has also spent a lot of time in governance, which is why the Prime Minister is also cognizant of the challenges that are ahead of him, which is why he wants to project this strength of unity of the ruling coalition, not just to the opposition, but also to the country.
Right. Also, Vasudha, any signs that the NDA might be using this gathering to also test the waters ahead of the Vice President nomination? Anything we're picking up on?
Well, what we understand is that, let's just get the dates first. First is, of course, 9 September is when the election is going to take place. And like you rightly pointed out, this is going to be a proportional representation, right? The MPs get to choose who their vice president is going to be. You can actually have preferential voting, which is why there'll be a candidate from the ruling side and there'll be a candidate from the opposition side if they want. the NDA guys have to really sort of sit together and decide who the vice president is going to be. But of course, BJP has mammoth numbers here, huge, massive numbers here, which is why it will want to take the allies into confidence. But I don't really see any sense of a disagreement happening on that front, because BJP has the brute force, at least when it comes to NDA numbers are concerned, which is why they have to come up with a name before 21st of August, which is when the nomination filing ends, which is why we'll get to know who the vice president candidate from the ruling side and the opposition side could be in the next coming days. But today's meeting is just to project, a sense of unity, especially after Operation Sindoor.
Vasudha, as always, thank you so much for taking us through the latest developments and contextualizing the latest information for us. This is the first NDA meeting post Operation Sindoor. Vasudha Venugopal has been tracking all that's happening behind the scenes as well. This meeting comes in the middle of a session which has been a washout so far, except for a two-day discussion on the Pahalgam attack and Operation Sindoor, due to a united opposition's continuous protest against the special intensive revision of electoral rolls in Bihar.